Some of them, to me, were rather silly when you look back at there was one there about 2 women being involved, and sure, there was women always involved. There's more women involved now than ever before in looking after teams. But what was the over feeling that you would had that why they would have turned against you, who was very successful? Was it that they weren't able to deal with you, that you were too strong?
Well, Sean, first of all, I'd like to thank those people that rang in with
yes.
Congratulations you on the show, and Henry and myself, and especially to Rita Dooley. Rita Dooley, I know as Rita Dooley, Mick Flynn took her over to TIpperary there, and he converted her into a soccer woman. She's one out of the famous Dooleys of South Liberty who beat us last Sunday week. So there's history repeating itself everywhere along the line.
Listen,
here, in the programme this morning. But getting back to your question, I'm glad you asked me that question, Sean.
I'm glad too. Come on,
Sean. The reason I fell out, I suppose, with the board was that, you see, Limerick had been like a litany and a history of Crangos and old Pals Act and all old cartels, like, as a word that might allow to use one time, and quality cartels, and I broke up all that, Sean. I went out into the clubs, the highways and the byways, the bushes and the rushes in West Limerick and East Limerick, and I found young fellas that were wanted to play, and I coached them and I worked very hard with them, and we put a new impetus into where Limerick was going, and that didn't suit the powers that be. No, it didn't suit the super clubs that we had in Limerick, that they had called themselves super clubs. So as a result of that, I was also an independent-minded person. We had our own job to do, and we did our own job. We didn't interfere in any other job, but we suffered huge interference ourselves. And also, I was lucky that I had a tremendous man with me in the likes of Dave Mahidi, who they resented from the word go on account of his soccer background. And I had Mahidi with the driving force behind the team, Sean, behind the fitness, behind the attitude of the team, the professional setup that we had in the physical aspect of it, the psychological aspect of it was Mahidi's work. I have an awful lot to be grateful to him for, and I was more and very upset for what happened to Dave rather than myself, because I was well used to dealing with him with their equals. Dave Mahidi was a gentleman. He was foreign to him. He was a stranger in Limerick. He wasn't a stranger. He's well accepted, but he wasn't the native of Limerick, in other words. And that's what happened, Sean. There is into Dave Mahidi as well, and within the county board and their cohorts and their yes men around the county went up against us. They were go.
Yes, Tom. I was just looking at other messages coming in there to you. Jim Fitzgerald, congratulations with the book and best wishes. I don't know, is that our Jim Fitzgerald, is it? That's our Jim Fitzgerald over in Galbally. Best wishes to you, and best wishes to Tom from Johnny Stokes and Helen back in Coughlin. Is it back in I suppose back in Ola?
Yeah.
Tom, we've got a whole programme of congratulations coming in for you. Also, can I just move, there's so much in this book. This is what I meant at the start. You can't the purpose I have in dealing with this book is that everything that's in this book will become known to everybody when they buy Henry's book, and that everything that's in it will become known to them. We couldn't cover any particular aspect in one go, because the question could be asked, how come we could win 3 under-21 All-Irelands and nothing major come from it? There's also comments in it that some of that group turning up at schools in an intoxicated state, that wasn't promoting what was good in hurling. Then you've all the different comments from players about who should have played, whether Galligan should have been on the list to play, whether Quigley, and so on. So many ordinary people, ordinary players. They just didn't have to be the Rory Kileys of this world or the Tom Ryans or anybody else. They all had something to say. And they Eamon Grimes, Dominic Punch, Jimmy Carroll. I mean, it's amazing the number of people that committed themselves to it. And there's a fair share there of Eamon Cregan.
Yes, well, this is what's unique about the book. And this is what Henry has to be congratulated for and supported. And there's no good in congratulating him. Only support him, buy the book, and read it yourself, and find. And at the end of the day, form your own honest opinion, because it isn't like the rubbish that's been printed, blown, cocked. or about Kilkenny, about fellas like about their life stories, or these are books that they've written that come out every year. This is the history of Limerick hurling. It also asks the question, as it shows the mentality that ran right through the whole scenario from the senior teams to the minor teams to the under 21 teams. And the question you asked, Sean, about why the minor team, why the 21 team that had been so successful, well, this has been the bone of contention with every commentator in the GA across the board. They weren't able to manage them. That's what happened. Managing a county team is a huge. If you talk to Liam Sheedy, talk to Cody, talk to him, managing a county team is an apt. It's a unique thing. You have to be able to handle people. You have to be able to coach. You have to know what's going on. You'll make mistakes. You have to be a really hands-on job. And the point about it is, this is what happened. We hadn't the management, we hadn't the mentality at top level to drive on the success of under 21s, and it doesn't follow through with the natural progression anyway.
Can I say to you in a way, and I'm only off the top of my head, did 3 All-Irelands in a row go too much to some people's heads? You know, had they succeeded too much, had they won too much in such a short period of time that other things took them over?
Possibly, Sean, yes, of course it is. And people at that age are also, they see the world as their eyes they're in. And, you know, I mean, in Limerick, I mean, success and under All-Ireland, like, success and Munster success is a big thing. And, like, people can go wild about that. And they did it back in 1973.
But the reason I asked you that is that you mightn't be prepared to respond to this, but the reason I asked you that was, did that group of players need a Tom Ryan? Did they need somebody that would whip them into shape? They mightn't like some of it, you know, the training might be a bit harder, you might have been tough on some things, but it might have brought more success. Are you saying that, is it a possibility that there was too much freedom and too much available to them?
I spoke at the time, Sean, of course they needed someone with a strong hand and someone that would be able to manage young people. And I really fancy myself as a young person's man, like. No, they needed someone that had a bit of foresight, that could see what was happening down the road. They needed kind of a Cody as well, that would be cool, that would be tough, that wouldn't take any of this nonsense. But you see, we ran away with ourselves, and that happened, you see, Sean, by being allowed. It's like just compare it for a second. You see, you need management structures. You need to be able to call in your managers and talk to them. You need to be able to offer them an opinion. You need to be asked them their opinion. You need a kind of a vision as well. We had no vision. We thought this thing would follow would automatically the same as, I mean, day follows night.
Yeah.
And that wasn't going to happen because we hadn't the people. We hadn't the people, proven management people that were going to handle the success of that team.
But in the last 2 or 3 years, in the last 2 years or so, there was talks about fellas drinking before the matches, the nights before and the days before. Sure, the players have to carry an awful lot of responsibility as well.
They have, Sean, but you see, players is about managing players. You can't be talking about players that are drinking before matches because they shouldn't be on any county panel. They're a bad role model. And you see, they say it is an amateur game and they'll find 100 excuses. And they'll get plenty of people to support them as well. No, you need a man to handle that situation at the top. You need huge management experience for to handle the situation about discipline. Discipline is more than drinking. Discipline can be about missing training. It can be faking injuries. It can be 50 things. If he's going away for a holiday when he's supposed to be working.